8 days after the election, and the founder and CEO of Polymarket has his home and his office raided by the FBI with his phone and his electronics seized. It's a hell of a coincidence. Well, this just in, and it's a pretty timely story considering we're talking about problems at the Justice Department and the FBI and what a new attorney general might be able to do to rectify that problem. We are learning that the founder and CEO of Polymarket has been investigated by the FBI. In fact, the CEO's phone has been seized, and many of the electronics in his residence and his work establishment have been seized. And we don't know why exactly. What do we know about Polymarket? Well, Polymarket is the online betting platform that was utilized during this past election, sort of as a bellwether to take the temperature of the American people to see where this election was going. They had a state-by-state Polymarket as well as a national Polymarket, and well, it was pretty damn accurate. And during the last few months of the presidential election, the data from Polymarket was often quoted side by side with national polls. Polymarket also became very popular with young men, young conservative men, a very critically important voting bloc in this last election. Some would argue the voting bloc that tipped the election in the favor of the Trump-Vance ticket. So now here we are 8 days after the election, and the founder and CEO of Polymarket has his home and his office raided by the FBI with his phone and his electronics seized. It's a hell of a coincidence. Why would the FBI do that? Why would the FBI do that now? Why would the FBI make this move in a lame duck session of this Congress and the Biden presidency as everyone awaits the new administration, the new Justice Department, the new Attorney General, and probably a new FBI director? Why would they be so aggressive and so robust at this moment? Nick Sortor, you probably know him as one of the cast of characters over on Timcast. He's pretty plugged in Washington, D.C., and he's been hearing that the FBI director is about to be named. And as he says, holy crap, the liberal screeching will bust your eardrums. Now, if Matt Gaetz as Attorney General doesn't elicit a holy crap, but the name of the FBI director does, well, I want to know who that person is. There's a lot of rumor and a lot of speculation around Washington. And this morning on Fox and Friends, Lawrence Jones actually relayed what he's hearing about the potential FBI director.
Other name that I'm hearing this morning as well is the next batch of nomination is going to be Attorney General and FBI Director. And I'm hearing Kash Patel. This has not been confirmed. The president has not made a final decision on that, but he wants to clean house there next.
Kash Patel. Who's Kash Patel? Well, first, let's see what detractors and opponents say about Kash Patel. It's always interesting to learn about who somebody is based on who hates them, especially in the realm of politics. So, MSNBC, what do you think of Kash Patel?
Spreading the lie that there is malfeasance in our government, that some mysterious, shadowy deep state is out to get Donald Trump and his supporters poses a grave threat to U.S. national security and, by extension, the American people. We heard that from former Principal Deputy Director of National Intelligence, Sue Gordon. She talked about it on this program last week, not because it's some abstract theory out there, but because it is a message that Trump and some of his most extreme allies have been pushing onto the American people repeatedly and for years now. Especially one person named Kash Patel, who, according to reporting from our colleague Von Hilliard, is currently under consideration to be the director of the CIA or the FBI in Donald Trump's second term. It's an interesting development, as we just learned moments ago, that the current director of the FBI, Christopher Wray, also appointed by Donald Trump, as well as people on the Trump team, are planning for the possibility that Trump will replace his first pick to be FBI director during his first term, Christopher Wray. Wray has not finished serving out his 10-year term, and that is according to 3 people familiar with this matter. But to refresh your memory for a minute on the individual named Kash Patel. He's someone Trump wanted to install as deputy director of the CIA at the end of his first term as president. But Gina Haspel, who was running the CIA at the time, said she would quit if he did that. Kash Patel has since written a book called, quote, Government Gangsters, which, as ABC News reports, calls for a, quote, comprehensive house cleaning at the Justice Department and an eradication of government tyranny within the FBI by firing the top ranks and prosecuting to the fullest extent of the law anyone who in any way abused their authority for political ends.
All right, we're going to watch a little bit more of this glorious taking down of Kash Patel, but I just want to pause there for a moment. It's true. It's a great book, by the way, Government Gangsters. And look at this poll quote from the book that MSNBC apparently, or at least this host, Nicole Wallace, finds so objectionable. Kash Patel says that the top ranks of the FBI should be fired and then prosecute, quote, to the fullest extent of the law, anyone who in any way abused their authority for political ends. They found that objectionable. They find that outrageous. They find that absolutely disqualifying for Kash Patel. How dare you, sir? How dare you suggest that people at the FBI should be prosecuted to the full extent of the law for what's that now? For abusing their authority for political ends? What do you, I mean, what's the point of being a top level official at the FBI if you can't abuse your authority to political ends? The self-own here for MSNBC is glorious. The fact that she's angry and upset and indignant at the mere thought of prosecuting people at the FBI for abusing their authority for political ends. She finds that outrageous, despicable, absolutely disqualifying for Kash Patel. I look at that and I say, well, duh. I've got a better question. Why doesn't our current FBI director prosecute to the fullest extent of the law anyone who has abused their authority for political ends? Well, probably because he'd have to do his own perp walk. That's why. It's just glorious when they do. They are so in their bubble over there in the left-wing media that they have no idea what they're actually admitting to. This man, Kash Patel, is outrageous. He's horrible. Do you know what he wants to do? He wants to prosecute people at the FBI for abusing their authority. It's great. All right, a little bit more of this, and then we'll dive deeper into who Kash Patel is.
And he has said this in the past.
The one thing we learned in the Trump administration the first go around is we got to put in all America patriots top to bottom. And we got them for law enforcement. We got them for intel collection. We got them for offensive operations. We got them for DOD, CIA, everywhere. And the one thing we will do that they never will do is we will follow the facts and the law and go to courts of law and correct these justices and lawyers who have been prosecuting these cases based on politics and actually issuing them as lawfare. We will go out and find the conspirators, not just in government, but in the media. Yes, we're going to come after the people in the media who lied about American citizens, who helped Joe Biden rig presidential elections. We're going to come after you, whether it's criminally or civilly, we'll figure that out. But yeah, we're putting you all on notice.
So again, oh, look at her face. She's got the sad. She finds that outrageous. What did Kash Patel just say that is so outrageous that Nicole Wallace is making that face over? Oh, what a glorious face it is, too. Kash Patel said that they're going to fill the new Trump administration with American patriots. Well, we can't have that. Who will speak for Ukraine, after all? Let alone illegal aliens. American patriots? Wait, Americans? Not just Americans, but Americans who love the country? We can't have that. And then we're going to go after the politicians, the judges who have defied the law and acted in a corrupt way, and people in the media who have lied to help that case. Because understand something. Every single thing that Kash Patel is talking about that needs to get cleaned up in the Justice Department, they're doing it because innocent Americans have been victimized and harmed by the federal government, including with the assistance of people in the media who hide behind the First Amendment and freedom of the press as in some way a shield or some sort of cloak of invisibility that allows them to participate in these crimes against American citizens. And yet, well, hey, you know, we're reporters, so, you know, you can't touch us. No, actually, if you violate somebody's civil rights by utilizing the power of the pen, absolutely, you're liable, potentially criminally liable for your behavior. And she finds that objectionable. A little bit more from Nicole Wallace and MSNBC here, and then we'll dive deeper.
They're going to go get the people who lied about the results of the election. We hope he means in 2020, and incited people to commit crimes at the U.S. Capitol. We hope he does that. Anyone that lied about the results of the 2020 election and inspired their own people to carry out crimes and chant, "Hang Mike Pence," those people should meet the fate that Kash Patel describes there in that interview. Spreading.
It will never not amaze me that a woman with a voice like that and a delivery like that is a professional broadcaster in prime time over for NBC News. Think about what she just said, by the way. If protesters were standing in front of the Capitol on January 6th yelling, "Hang Mike Pence," which, by the way, I don't agree with, and I certainly wouldn't do it, but those people should be prosecuted, Nicole Wallace says. That's literally protected First Amendment speech. And of all of the examples that she could just lay out there as a real good gotcha for Kash Patel, it's people standing in front of the Capitol chanting, "Hang Mike Pence." They should be prosecuted, says Nicole Wallace. And that's literally not a crime. All right. So who is Kash Patel? Why do they hate Kash Patel? Well, a couple things about Kash Patel. And first, in the spirit of full disclosure, I know Kash Patel. I've socialized with Kash Patel. I've interviewed him multiple times. And yes, I've been out socially with him. He's a good man. Kash Patel was a former attorney at the Justice Department, so he knows his way around the corridors of power there. He also was the lead investigator for Devin Nunes's House Intelligence Committee. That was the committee that Devin Nunes was the chairman of when they got to the truth about Russian collusion. Kash Patel started peeling back the Russian collusion story and realized exactly what had gone on with James Comey and with the Obama administration in investigating almost everything that we know about the fake FISA warrants that were lied about to be obtained to spy on American citizens, innocent American citizens who were involved in the Trump campaign. And all of the deep, deep corruption involved in the Comey FBI. We know it all because of Kash Patel. After that, he took the job as the assistant, I want to get the title right, forgive me, either assistant chief of staff to the Pentagon, or it may have been the deputy secretary of defense. I'm sorry, for the last year of the Trump administration. Why is his role at the Pentagon important? Because he was literally in the room the week of January 6th, several days before the event at the Capitol, when Donald Trump authorized to the Secretary of Defense the use of National Guard in advance for security at the Capitol. That would be the use of the National Guard that Nancy Pelosi never asked for and refused. Mayor Muriel Bowser of D.C. never asked for and, in fact, refused. Donald Trump pre-authorized those troops days before January 6th. And Kash Patel, he is the primary witness of that. He was in the room when it happened.
Nancy Pelosi and company wanted to turn downtown Washington, D.C. into downtown Kandahar. They literally called, and I was there with the chief, as chief of staff of DOD. They called the SecDef and the chairman, and Pelosi said, "We want tanks." And we said, "What? You want an A1 Abrams tank? Where are we going to put this, Madam Speaker? And are we going to use a tank on American citizens at the United States Capitol?" Of course not. So we didn't do it because it was a disgusting politicization of the day. And it shows you the liars that Nancy Pelosi has now been caught in. And these are the people that wanted to kneecap Donald Trump. It's no different, unfortunately, for guys like Mike Flynn, who were illegally unmasked. And his name was sent to the media, which was a felony to disclose that kind of classified information. And then again, what did they do? Just like they did with impeachment one, they gave a piece of the transcript so they could target someone politically instead of actually using the Constitution to target criminals. And his life was turned upside down. And it wasn't until 3 years later, when I was a deputy director of national intelligence, that we declassified all the information the FBI withheld from the American public, because they exposed their corruption. And in it was Mike Flynn's own innocence. They withheld it from him, just like they did during the Russiagate scandal and the FISA court warrant application for Carter Page. This is the DOJ FBI playbook. They will use government tactics and classification systems to hide their corruption. They've done it for years, and Donald Trump's the only force that can break through it. And so all these things stitched together, they might be different acts in different years, but they are all the same cover-up tactics from these government gangsters. And that's why we got to go out there and give the people the truth. That's what we're about, and that's what we're doing.
That's who Kash Patel is, and that's a little bit of why they don't like him. I forgot that resume credit, by the way, Deputy Director of National Intelligence under Ambassador Richard Grenell when he was the acting Director of National Intelligence. Kash Patel knows where the bodies are buried. He knows exactly what went on. And the last thing they want, the last thing the blob in Washington, D.C. wants, is for Kash Patel to actually come back and have authority. Real fast, one other little item about who Kash Patel is, a recent podcast he participated in.
The FBI's footprint has gotten so freaking big. And the biggest problem the FBI has come out of its intel shops. I'd break that component out of it. I'd shut down the FBI Hoover building on day one and reopening the next day as a museum of the deep state. And I'd take the 7,000 employees that work in that building and send them across America to chase down criminals. Go be cops. You're cops. Go be cops. Go chase down murderers and drug dealers and violent offenders. What do you need 7,000 people there for? Same thing with DOJ. What are all these people doing here? Looking for their next government promotion, looking for their next fancy government title, looking for their parachute out of government. So while you're bringing in the right people, you also have to shrink government.
Yeah, Sean Ryan show. That's who Kash Patel is. So why is the FBI raiding the Polymarket dude today, 2 months before the new administration begins? Well, because when that guy is in charge, should he become the FBI director, and we're just speculating here, we don't know that that's the gig he's going to get. But if he does, well, things are going to change at the FBI. So I guess they're trying to get in all their licks as soon as they can, which brings us to Secretary of State Anthony Blinken. You see, we need to get used to them getting in all their licks while they can. And it's not just the FBI and it's not just the Justice Department. It's across the board in this Biden administration. Like I told you yesterday, when they were all shaking hands and smiling in the Oval Office and acting like we're going to have a smooth, peaceful transition of power, behind the scenes, they are already working not only to undermine Donald Trump, but to handcuff him and to force him into a corner so that when he does retain power, he's going to be behind the 8 ball on a lot of major decisions that he wants to make that he told the American people he would make. For instance, one of the biggest promises of the campaign was he was going to mobilize and act to end the war in Ukraine and bring about peace. Anthony Blinken is only the Secretary of State for 2 more months, but boy, oh boy, he hates the idea of peace over in Ukraine. So what did he say today?
As we're working to make sure that Ukraine has what it needs to effectively defend itself, the United States continues to step up. We've obligated just recently and pushed out the door another $8 billion in security assistance for Ukraine. That was in September. Another almost $500 million just a few weeks ago. And President Biden is committed to making sure that every dollar we have at our disposal will be pushed out the door between now and January 20th.
They're saying it out loud. We're going to make sure we push every dollar we can find over to Ukraine before January 20th. They don't care about the election that just occurred. They don't care about the results. They don't care that the American people just voted for fundamental change. They're going to continue going balls to the walls right up until the last minute. It's exactly what Obama did. And I sure hope the Trump people are looking out for it. But ultimately, the idea of Kash Patel as an FBI director kind of makes me all warm and squishy inside. Well, we can now exhale, right? Take that deep breath. Our side won. Work can finally be done on the major issues this country is facing. And one of the most significant is our national debt. The fact is our country is broke, and that debt is a house of cards that can't quickly be dismantled. So the strategy remains the same now for you personally. Diversify your savings. So many things are out of our control, even out of President Trump's control, frankly. It's important to have a safe haven for your savings. Birch Gold Group, they'll help you convert an IRA or 401k into an IRA of physical gold. And the best news is it doesn't cost you a penny out of pocket. Text my name, Larry, Larry, to 989898. Get a free info kit on gold. And right now, listen to this offer. Right now, between now and Black Friday, the day after Thanksgiving, you're going to get a free 1-ounce silver eagle for every $5,000 purchased. Diversify your savings with Birch Gold. Text Larry, Larry, to 989898. Claim your eligibility for free silver today.